So, what does the word optimize look like to you as you're doing this work in these attractions and entertainment industry locations?
Well, I think big picture optimized to me is about kind of doing the best that you can with the information that you have at that time. So today, Ryan at your optimal best is probably different than Ryan at your optimal best 10 years ago, right? Because
Mhm.
you've learned things, you've experienced things, you've brought more things into your tool belt, so to speak. So what you're doing now is going to be different than what it was, years ago. And what I find is that people don't often take that time to reflect back on what it was they did. And they're in the moment and they're struggling sometimes and they're focused on their challenges, but they don't kind of look back and say, you know what, I have made progress. I should be more confident in what I'm doing because I've been able to take the steps before. Yes, I may feel like I'm in quicksand right now, but I've gotten out of quicksand before, and I think I can do this. So I think where my, I guess, influence comes in is helping people realize, number one, that they can get out of the quicksand. But number two, figuring out how. Because again, sometimes it's about looking back to figure out how we look forward, but it's
Mm.
also about recognizing those things that we might be doing that are holding ourselves back.
You just talked about quicksand, Matt. What kind of quicksand have you found yourself in that you've had to work through?
It's interesting because this podcast is an example, and I'll tell you why. Because the quicksand for me, many, many years ago, was being on camera in any kind of way that, I was presenting my ideas. And I recognized a long time ago that being a speaker and being someone who is up in front of people talking, that I needed content out there for people to be able to see what I do so they can
Mhm.
decide if they want to hire me or not. And I can remember so many times you're recording something and just erasing it immediately. Like this,
Mhm.
no good. It's terrible. So that was my quicksand. Like it was holding me back for sure. And so many years ago, I started a video series and I called it Three Questions. So it was kind of the precursor to what I do now as a podcast. And of course, now I'm much more comfortable coming on to other people's podcasts.
Mhm.
So thank you again for the invitation.
Of course.
But I did this thing called Three Questions, and I would call up a friend and I would say, hey, and this is way back like in Skype. This is before Zoom was really a
Mhm.
big thing. And so we get on a Skype video call and I said, I'm going to ask you three questions and I want you to ask me three questions. And so we'd record it.
Mhm.
And now there was this accountability that I had to do something with that because somebody else was involved. So I was like, all right, I guess I got to post it now, warts and all, if you will, of all the ums and the ahs and or the misspoken words. And so that was what helped me kind of get out of that quicksand.